Yeah, man. Famous cartoonist Art Balthazar, as you see. Abraham Lincoln is with me, and we are watching, and you are watching. Famous cartoonists draw at night. They draw at night, by night. We're all here together, man. Buy their comics, buy my comics, shop.
Welcome to Cartoonist by Night. I am Anthony Laatsch. I am joined here with Troy Dongarra, Matt Rodgers, D. Gibson, and our very special guest, a writer, pizza lover, and Sasquatch, Dave Scheidt. How's it going, Dave?
There he is. Hey, thank you for having me, guys. Good to see you guys.
Yes, this is exclusively our first writer, I believe. Is that true, everybody? I think that exclusively out of our lineup of guests. So yeah, this will be a fun episode. Probably get a lot of good stories. What we're going to do here is talk about the chosen topic from our guest. So what is that topic, Dave?
I chose video games.
There we go. Awesome. So yeah, we're going to discuss video games. We're going to learn all about Dave's career and all of that fun stuff in this episode. Before we dive into the meat of it, we are going to figure out what we are going to be working on with the topic of video games at hand. Let's jump over to D. Gibson. What do you plan on working on tonight?
Well, I'm mostly going to go way back to the show Saturday Supercade when I was a kid, and it's an early Saturday morning cartoon, and it had Donkey Kong, Q*bert, Frogger, and other cartoon adaptations of video games. And then also the year before that, there was Hanna-Barbera did a Pac-Man cartoon, and so I'm going to draw some characters from that. And then also I'm working on my version of Mir.
Oh my god, that's what I thought that was. I was going to ask. That looks so cute.
Yeah.
Very cool. Matt Rodgers, we are welcoming not only you, but also your drawing screen, which means you're probably going to be joining us tonight with some drawing. What are you going to be working on?
I'm gonna try to do a Castlevania pinup.
Ooh,
nice.
I thought that was Pepsi Man for a second. You guys know about Pepsi Man?
Heck yeah, Pepsi Man rules.
Yeah, so you know. Of course, we're the only two weirdos that probably know about that.
Yeah, I don't think I know Pepsi Man.
Yeah, in like the 90s, it only came out in Japan. It's like a PS1 game. And it's literally like a superhero, but he's like he just like runs around and grabs cans of Pepsi. Like that's the whole thing.
Was it
really complex stuff.
Was it their response to Spot having his own video game from?
It had to have been, yeah. That because they saw Chester Cheetah and all these guys getting all the money, and they're like, we got to get someone in there.
Pepsi Man, nice.
And that was their thing. Pepsi Man.
Pepsi Man.
I wonder how many revisions that went through for superhero names. They're like, what? You know what? Just go home early. We'll call him Pepsi Man.
Yeah, Pepsi Man.
Probably none. Probably just somebody said Pepsi Man.
Top of the list. Yeah.
Well, I know what rabbit hole I'm going to go on in today.
Looking
for Pepsi Man.
Oh, you should. Yeah, it's good. You can actually get it pretty cheap too, because it only came out in Japan. So it's like you could get it pretty cheap if you buy a copy. If you're that committed.
No, I'm not that committed. No.
Yeah.
My topic is not going to be Kermit the Frog does from the last episode, but one of my favorite video games. You know, I could have easily drew many different characters, but one of my favorites from the Nintendo is Bubble Bobble. So we have Bub and Bob themselves. I don't know which one's which, or if either of these are those guys, but these are the guys are green and blue ones of Bubble Bobble. So I've got some penciled out here to ink and color. Troy, what are you going to be working on?
I actually have a story to go with mine.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was going to draw this morning, so I have a tortoise, or my wife has a tortoise. But I was soaking the tortoise, and when I went outside, so we're already leaning, we got tortoise. went outside and was washing out the tub that I was soaking the tortoise in, because you soak them to help them poop,
Yeah, of course.
soak up the water. So I'm washing out the tub, and I see the brick is wet underneath where our kitchen sink is, and I can hear water under it. So I had to go under the house and do some plumbing work, and I'm not a plumber, but I was able to figure it out. And then for dinner, I had lasagna that I assembled last night, and I thought, it's all just kind of falling together.
Yeah.
We can draw Super Mario.
The prophecy. The prophecy.
It's like the universe was telling me the whole time, Troy, you don't know. You don't have to try to figure it out. It's right in front of you.
That's good. Those are so good too. Were those the ones in Nintendo Power, or those are just like the original manga, right? Or they were both, right? Because I have that copy too. It's great.
This is, I believe these were in Nintendo Power, but
Yeah,
the
those are so good.
were.
I also love too, like a lot of those, they weren't like weird about. There was that era Mario where they weren't weird about going off model. So like even in like official Mario merch, Mario will have like different hair color, different shirt, all that. Yeah, those are so good. That art's so good. Yeah, that Toad. Yeah, that's awesome.
Then they also put out the Manga Mania.
Ooh.
What era is that one?
This one
That's
is
still 90s or no? Or 80s?
This one's new. This one's 2020.
It's
Oh,
just-
okay.
Yeah, the cover looks very modern.
Yeah.
What's the insides?
But it's like it wants to be
yeah, that's
blurry,
so
I
good.
guess. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I love seeing that off model though. I like that they let them kind of just go nuts and do that.
I actually think
Thinking,
So yeah,
I don't really like the artwork in this one. I've seen another one that I did really like, but I think there's also multiple different artists in this graphic novel too.
Oh yeah.
Some might be great and some are horrendous.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's like Mario 3 era too. I think that is.
Yeah, like just meh. Not my cup of tea.
My dog's
all right.
getting-
Well, while we have our topic at hand, know what we're drawing. We're going to be off to the races here. Talk about video games. Talk about Dave. But let's start with our topic. And Dave, why
Yes.
do you want to talk about video games this evening?
I just think in general, I just spend so much time with like comics and just everything else. You know, it's like I don't know, it's almost kind of like a little escape for me, you know, sometimes too big of an escape as far as like when I'm on deadline and stuff. So hopefully if any of my editors are listening to this, they didn't hear that. I don't know, it's just something cool. It's just something I've always been really passionate about. And I don't know, I think it's really important too, like when you're, you know, artist, writer, or whatever, to like have hobbies, you know?
Yeah.
And also something that you don't really try to commodify. Like I'm not trying to become like a game developer. Like to me, it's just fun just to be like a fan.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just something I've always been into, and I kind of just I just think about a lot. I just waste my life playing, I guess, you know. When I'm not wasting my life making comics, you know.
Yeah. I like what you said. They're a good escape, you know, and just
Yeah.
you know, it's relative enough to your work and your hobbies and stuff when it comes to comic and movies. You know, fits into the geek culture of it all. But yeah, it's definitely a good escape. So when it comes to, we're gonna get like right into it when we're talking about like top favorite game or console, if they're one and the same, you know, kind of what does it come to your mind immediately when you're asked what was your favorite game of all time?
Castlevania Symphony of the Night is my all-timer.
Was that
Just PS1
for-
in general. I was like the perfect age when PS1 came out. I was like, you know, we had an NES when we were kids, but I feel like PS1 was kind of that thing where it like felt like it was kind of like my generation's, right? Like I actually like, even though I was still clearly like a kid playing it, you felt like you're kind of part of like a cooler movement, you know, like you know, the whole advertisement of like, you know, Nintendo's for kids, this is for, you know, men, even though I was probably still a child playing those. Yeah, I don't know, there's just something really cool, and obviously it's nostalgia and everything, but there's just such a cool, I don't know, the PS1 era was just so cool. There's so much like of the world changing and kind of in front of us, you know, so like the idea too of like being able to play like music CDs on the console was really cool, I remember. And just like their advertising and everything was just so different, you know. It just was really like them kind of swinging for the fences for really trying to kind of grab a different crowd, you know.
Yeah, I never really thought of that of just like, kind of you're saying this is for the grown-ups, the adults, like the transition when you're playing your Marios and your Sonics, and then all of a sudden you have a game like Resident Evil and Tomb Raider and like
Yeah.
Twisted Metal. It's just
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh yeah, hey, I'm putting all this childhood things away.
yeah. I'm mature now. I'm playing a game with you're a clown in like a ice cream truck, you know, shooting rockets at people. Like, this is what men play, you know.
I think my first taste of that is probably when like hearing about Mortal Kombat for the first time.
Oh yeah,
I remember seeing in newspapers about how this game has blood in it.
Oh my god.
I hope my parents don't find out because I want to play this game, So
Seeing that at the arcade for the first time too as a kid was like the craziest thing in the world. Like, I don't remember the first time I saw a fatality. I just probably it was probably this like, you know, what do they call it, a canon moment?
yeah.
Which maybe for the better, for the worse. It's still kind of up in the air. I don't know if seeing dudes get their heads ripped off when I was like 6 years old was the best idea, but hey, I'm still here, so
Yeah. I think it worked out.
yeah, for sure. I hope so. Yeah.
We'll jump over to Matt Rodgers when asked about your favorite video game or console. What jumps to mind?
Pepsi Man.
Yeah, Pepsi Man.
Pepsi Man for the PlayStation. No, I was a big Super Nintendo kid, and I really liked Chrono Trigger.
Oh
It
yeah.
was really good. Final Fantasy 6/3 was really good. Final Fantasy 4 is amazing. It didn't come out for a long time here. I like RPGs a lot. I just wish that I had more time to play them now.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Same.
the last game that I got like super duper into was a game for Xbox series called Control.
Hmm.
And it's like you play this woman and have you ever heard of SCPs?
Oh yeah,
Like
for sure. Yeah.
it's like
Control's awesome. Yeah.
like an internet fable-y thing. Basically, it's like this is a comb and it has powers, and if
Okay.
you run it through your hair, it makes you travel back in time. Like
Yeah, it's
it's
kind of
kind
like
of based,
kind of X Files, kind of like
yeah,
secret shadow government.
yeah.
No,
It's
knowing about
based on
monsters
that
and
kind of stuff. Like in the game, the one little part, there's like a guy sitting in a chair staring at a refrigerator. And if the refrigerator doesn't have somebody staring at it at all times, then it actually kills people.
That's awesome.
So they have like shifts where they have to like just
Yeah.
stare at this fridge. But it's a really fun game. I
Yeah.
got super into it.
Yeah. Did you play on like two or no?
No, I want to.
Yeah.
I played the first one and I really liked it. I'm waiting for two to go on sale so
Oh,
I
yeah.
can get it for like $30.
That has like a full on crossover with like control, like it has like control stuff in it.
Yeah, Control
You find
had
one of
a
those little stations
DLC
and stuff.
that was Alan Wake themed.
Yeah, that's so cool.
There's one important note that I wanted to address for this episode that if the episode feels, we're working with the cameras and drawing screens. If you start to feel like an extra like shakiness to any of the cameras, I do have the Rumble Pack near me here. So this episode is enhanced with the
There we
Rumble
go,
Pack
yeah.
technology. So we're not messing around here. This is serious stuff. So
I love that. How long you been waiting to pull that one out? That's awesome.
it's been sitting here the whole time.
Finally, yeah, hell yeah. That's how you do it.
Yep, I got to do this now. Jump over to D. Brad Gibson. Do you have a favorite video game and/or console?
Well, if we go nostalgia, like I was alive when the video games first came out for homes, and then the first one was Pong. And so the only way I got to play that game was if I was at a friend's house. But when I got my own, it was when Atari, ColecoVision, and Intellivision came out. And so I had ColecoVision, and I also had an adapter with it where I could play the Atari games as well. So I really got into my early games was an adaptation of the movie War Games.
Ah,
You want to play a game? That was pretty intense for the time. And then I enjoyed um, I played Donkey Kong Jr., all those Pac-Man.
yeah.
And then I didn't and I kind of lost interest in video games as I got a little bit older as a teenager. And I think that's when but I got back into it when Sega came out and I got really into NHL hockey and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And then Well, my girls had Wii's. That's what their first ones, and so I played some of those, but I didn't get into them too much. Um, and then they each have their own PlayStation that they save their money for. They have jobs now, and I tried Tomb Raider, and it just like it killed me. It was too stressful. I was like,
Yeah.
"What's this guy? What's going on here?" Like that. But it was I love the stories and the role play games. And so my girls were really into Skyrim, so I just liked watching them play it. But yeah, I don't play them mu much at all anymore.
Yeah.
The other game I really see a lot of is Minecraft because I do that with my students in school. So I have projects and they have to show me their stuff on Minecraft that they made, and so I learn a lot from my students about that. And those are my video game stuff. Um,
Excellent. Troy, favorite video game and or console?
Well, I was gonna say that I'm not a huge gamer, but when I have a buddy that got me into Skyrim for a while,
yeah,
and I probably spent 100 hours or more on that game. Um, but other than that, I'm kind of yeah, not really. I have I like the NHL hockey game, but I almost exclusively use it like managerial mode where I'm trying to assemble a team, and then I'll see if the computer thinks that the team that I put together is good enough to win.
oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's kind of a lame way to play a hockey game.
No, I mean that's cool though. It's wherever you occupy your time and stuff. That's cool. You know, like there's tons of those. Like simulations, like a huge genre for stuff like that. Like I think there's an MLB one that was like specifically you're just like a coach, and that was the whole thing too, where you're just like building all that sort of thing. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Nothing at all. You're awesome, Troy.
Well, thank you.
Don't let anybody try to convince you otherwise.
Um, that's also something that's a great way to segue into this next prepared joke here is that this episode, Future Anthony is editing solely through an Atari joystick here. So
What?
just to know the
Oh
technology
yeah.
being used, it'll be plugged into this Apple computer somehow just to edit this episode. So we're covered.
Look at that precision on there. It's top of the art, state of the line.
Exactly. We're not messing around here.
Also, I like your hat, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was. I'll get back to it. Whoop, that's not it. It's yeah, it was very much planned for this episode. To
Yeah. I'm
bait
honored.
our guest. There we go. All right. So proposing that question about favorite video games led me to an issue where I was looking through all my games and realizing I've got about 70 examples next to me here. So this is going to be a super quick speed round that I will filter in throughout the episode. So I'm just starting at the beginning here with Atari. When we're talking about Pac-Man, we're talking about Donkey Kong. How about the Raiders of the Lost Ark Atari
Oh, man.
game? Love
Oh
me
yeah.
Frogger.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Pitfall. Got some.
Yeah. Pitfall.
Oh, love it. And then some Stampede as well. Then you get into some great territory with some Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and the Spider-Man Atari game. And
Oh
then
yeah.
this one, I didn't, maybe it came out of a landfill or not. I don't know. But
There he is. He's right there.
I at least got it for 50 cents from a landfill. So I guess they charged me
Classic.
there. Love me some Burger Time. I get excited. I got a Burger Time reference in my upcoming
Awesome.
Race Christopher story.
Burger Time's really fun.
And to be very timely with the upcoming summer blockbuster. But here's the Superman game here. Yeah, this is some great stuff there,
Yeah.
and I always had the pleasure of hand-me-down video games with my older brothers having all the games, and then me getting to experience all that stuff. And I was very thankful for kind of being around for that time to. While the regular Nintendo and Super Nintendo is when I would get into everything pretty hardcore, I was happy to have all those Atari games at my wheelhouse to get things cooking. So yeah, that is just a little taste. I'm going to sprinkle all the other ones in as we go.
Just
But Bubble Bobble, as I mentioned with my choice of topic for drawing, that's one where I was just super excited that I just was playing it the other day on the Switch. Buying the arcade version on the downloadable Switch online games or whatever. So always playing Bubble Bobble to this day.
Bubble bubble.
All right.
wow.
We'll do a quick little check-in on drawings here. We see this Mario coming along pretty well here for Troy. I love it. How you feeling the Mario over there, Troy?
Good. I had to Google the ears because for some reason it felt like the ears should be like have some darkness up at the top, but they don't. So I might add it anyway, just because it feels like it should be there now.
I say go with
But
it.
no, yeah, just
Cool.
yep, it's Mario. It's
All
me.
right. We see some awesome Pac-Man stuff going on here with all the ghost and I always love D. Brad's expression work, and I think it's on display right here. Oh yeah, and also on your art page too, not just
Okay.
D. Brad. That's awesome. Once upon a time, tried getting myself a Pac-Man arcade cabinet, but I would eventually get a Super Mario one, a Gunsmoke one. I tried getting Bubble Bobble, but Pac-Man always got away from me. So
I had a little arcade of Pac-Man handheld.
yeah, over the last 5 to 10 years, they've been starting to see a lot, not only the handheld ones, but some of the mini cabinets and stuff that
Yeah.
that stuff's really been kind of.
And then every restaurant you go to, there'd be like a table that you could eat
those are
on,
the best.
video
There's
games
like
on.
bar ones too. Yeah. Do you ever see? I love the bar ones, like the flat top ones.
That's what I'm
Those are
talking
always
about.
really cool. Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah.
If I didn't know any better, it looks like Matt Rodgers is drawing like Marble Madness over there. What's going on here with Pepsi Man? Looks like it's a Marble Madness like maze type of ramps and.
Well, it's gonna be the Pac-Man map because
Ooh.
I was trying to draw a human being and it wasn't working out.
Sorry,
You know how it goes. Sometimes you just can't draw people.
Looks good though.
That works. All right.
Usually, I can't draw people.
We're going to jump over to talking about Dave here. We'll get back to video games in a moment. There's many different entries into talking about Dave and his creative work, and we'll get into the origin story, but I do want to kick it off first with a more recent success with Mayor Goodboy. So yeah, you are the author of this alongside with Miranda Harmon, as well as being the artist. Can you talk about Mayor Goodboy and how this book started and why it's in my hands right now?
Yeah, so I always actually just did a library visit the other day where I was talking about kind of the origins of this. I think just in general, obviously all of us are creative and we all have things we want to work on and that we kind of have in the back of our head. I could trace back Mayor Goodboy to I forgot what the exact year was. It might have been 2015, 2014, something like that. I'll just scribble down random notes, right? If I have ideas or whatever, if I think it's just something I should remember. And I remember way back in the day, I just had a notes app that just said, all the note app said was dog mayor. And for the longest time, I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this is going to be. It's just these two words together are very funny to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just write this down so I remember it. And I was a fan of Miranda's work forever. I've known Miranda just through doing indie shows we used to do. I think I met her first at we do a show here in Chicago called Cake. It's the Chicago Alternate Comics Expo. And I think I met her there first. And I was always just super into her art and stuff. And, eventually I started doing my own work. And I did a book with Scoop McMahon called Wrapped Up. Mm-hmm. And that kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of build the book around being able to work with a bunch of, cartoonists that I really admire. And one of the first people on the list was Miranda. I was like, I have to work with her. I love her art. I think we'd be really good together. So she did a 4-page, 6-page short story and Wrapped Up. I think it was, I want to say issue 3 of Wrapped Up, maybe issue 2, something like that. And yeah, I just really like the results. I feel like we really kind of, I think in comics, you kind of need that chemistry and that kind of shorthand. And we kind of just, I guess, naturally kind of fit together as far as the stuff that we wanted to do. So yeah, I kind of just slowly came up with the idea of forming this book around, this small town that elects a dog as mayor, but it's legally binding. And like, and it was definitely purposeful where we like didn't create the first book where it's like, there's not the build up to him being mayor. It's like, he's already mayor. Like to me, like everyone else would have done that. And to me, it's just way funnier that the book opens. He's like already the mayor, Right. And I get like sometimes too, a storytelling intention and all that. Sometimes that could kind of go against it or whatever. But for me, I like to not necessarily like break roles with storytelling, but it just, to me, that's way more interesting and funnier just to kind of throw you in a situation like that. Because the concept's already like this absurd thing, so it's like, I could already just go nuts with it. So, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. We did 3 books, and I don't know, it's just been a really good time. Kids are still finding out about it and all that. And I don't know, it was just a big part of my life. It's just a work that we're really proud of, and it's really fun. And I don't know, just like the cool thing about comics is kind of marks like little moments in your life and like projects and stuff like that. So it's like, even now it's still this huge part of my life because it's, this is something they don't really tell you when you do kids books and kids comics and stuff. As adults, we find out this movie's coming out this week, we'll go see it when it's new and people are talking about it and all this thing. Like, kids just find out about stuff randomly, so it's like, no one really told me that kids are just going to kind of find out about stuff on their own accord, whether that's, from their librarian or their friends or their local bookseller or comic shop, whatever. So even like today, like the first book came out in like 2021, and you still kind of play like a long game where like kids are finding out about it still to this day. And we're getting new fans like every day and all that. And it's this really cool journey of just kind of like, I don't know, comics meant the world to me as a kid. So being able to kind of continue that cycle is kind of really cool. It means a lot to me, so
must be fun to get to meet the kids that read the book too.
Oh, it's the best. That's my favorite part of the job.
I bet. Yeah.
And like getting letters from them, fan art, all that. It's so cool because this stuff's insular, it's what we're doing now. You kind of just hang out in your little studio or your apartment, drawing, writing, whatever. And it's like, it's still kind of hard for me to grasp the idea of like something I helped create with my friends as being like read around the world, but it kind of that's why like library visits, school visits, conventions, all that sort of stuff like are really cool to do because you really get to kind of see that in person and kind of remind you why you're doing this, if that makes sense, but it's the best part of the job is meeting the kids and seeing them connected with them, what they like, what they didn't like. And
they're honest too, aren't they?
Oh yeah. And it's the funniest thing in the world because I don't have kids. So for the longest time, I didn't really pick up on that, because you get old and you get kind of grumpy and whatever, you kind of just sometimes lose touch with your childhood or whatever. But when I was first started doing like kids comics, kids would be like, I'll be like one of 2 kids creators in like a giant convention of like Marvel, DC guys, whatever, and I would be tabling, the parent would come by and be like, oh, hey, look, wrapped up. Doesn't this look cool? Kid would be like, no. And back in the day, I'd be like, hey, come on, man, this is like the only thing you got going for you over here or whatever. But now I love it because I know when they actually like something and they're excited, like it's genuine, they're super into it,
Right.
And I'd rather have that than someone kind of lie and kind of pat you on the back just to be like polite or something, it's there's a sincerity to it, you're really connecting if they actually really like it,
Yeah, I had the pleasure of witnessing some of that when I was at this last C2E2 in Chicago, and I was watching Art Baltazar's table, and somebody noticed your banner from a couple tables down, and they asked me, like, is that the creator of Mayor Goodboy over there? I'm like, yeah, that's the author. I'm like, go. I'm like, go down now, go. And like, they had their kid with them and stuff, and it was so cool to like see how excited they were because not knowing that either that you were there and just happened to see the banner and just be like,
yeah,
seeing that in person was just awesome. So
it's so cool too because it's like, like it's super easy also to kind of default into the kind of self-deprecating kind of like, no one cares, like whatever, this and that about certain stuff. But it's like when you're at these events and kids do that, you can't like, you have to turn that off. I can't be like, I have to be like to me, I'm just like Dave, right? And to all of us, right? We're just buddies, we're hanging out. They're just like, you're a guy, like, that you guys know, right? Just like mutual friends and all that. But like for kids, it's like a big deal, So for me, I take that sort of stuff very seriously because it's, I think about like, I've been a lifelong comic reader. So it's like when comic creators were cool to me as a kid. That meant like the world to me because it was like they're treating me like a person, you know. And kids don't really have a lot of autonomy and kind of freedom with that sort of stuff, you know. It's very regimented. It's very this, and this, you know. So it's like when they meet like someone like that, I don't know. It's a really cool opportunity to kind of just give a little back and kind of just like, I always tell people it's like not hard to be nice. You know, you could do simple little gestures, especially for kids.
Oh yeah.
And it's like no effort for me, but it could like change their life or something, you know. Not saying I'm doing that, but you know what I mean? Like, hey, this drawing's really cool. I love this. Like to them, that probably means the world.
Yeah.
That like the Mayor Goodboy guy is saying that this drawing they drew is cool or whatever. So it's like those sort of things you definitely have to really take seriously, you know.
Yeah, a little can go a long ways.
Oh yeah, and it's the best, and it's literally zero effort for me. Oh my god, that's a cool drawing. Oh, this is cool. Did you draw this? Did you write this? That's all it takes. But for them, it's like, you know, it's everything, you know, and it's that kind of shows you like, again, you kind of sometimes forget why you do this, you know, and comics is such an insular thing sometimes, you know, but then you get moments like that and you're like, whoa, like this actually is like reaching people, and actually it's more than just like little stupid jokes and little dumb ideas. It's like you're creating like, I don't know, you're creating like moments and memories, especially like families. Like I'll have families come up and say, hey, you know, I read chapters of this to my kid every night and all this sort of thing. And it's like, it's their little ritual, whatever. It's like, that's like a memory. Like I'm part of that. It's not even just this little thing. I'm helping other people create things too, you know?
Right.
So you mentioned the 3 books. I've got all 3 here with Mayor Goodboy. You got Mayor Goodboy Goes Hollywood, Mayor Goodboy Turns Bad. When it comes to, you know, starting with the first story and then now going on to sequels and everything, is that something that you plan towards, or do you kind of have to wait for the success, or are you excited to kind of like get ahead of the game just in case? How does that process go from doing this one thing to now having several out there?
Yeah, so with that initially, like book deal, it's like you sign on for X amount of books initially. With kid stuff, just kids read so quickly. It's like it makes way more sense to be able to just crank them out, you know, way ahead of time than just like waiting around. And as a kids creator, like one of the worst things you could experience is like when you know something's like years away and the kids ask, oh, when's it going to come out? It's like really hard for me to be like, oh, a couple years, or I'm working on something else or whatever. But yeah, a lot of most kid stuff is definitely like way like I think we signed on initially. I want to say, I think the summer of 2019, I think is when I like officially pitched it. Like I went to San Diego Comic-Con and I like met with some people at Random House and we pitched it maybe like a month later officially. And then the first one came out in like 2021. So there's definitely a lot of lead in as far as, you know, like for one, creating 200-page graphic novels, like that's like a ton of drawing. That's a ton of writing, you know. But even just marketing, that's like there's such a lead in time with promotion that you don't even know about, like marketing towards libraries and schools and educators and all that. And there's always a full year of promotion ahead of a completed book. So I think the first book was done. Yeah, I think the first book was done in like 2020. Yeah. And then it wasn't out to 2021 or something. And then, you kind of just work on a kind of regimented schedule like that because you kind of have to, you know, and especially it's crazy, like it's something that takes years and years to make. And a kid will sit down and read it in, you know, half hour, an hour or something, you know, like it's years of work and then whatever. But the cool thing about kids is they reread stuff constantly. You know, if they really like a book, it's like, it doesn't matter. They'll keep experiencing it, you know, and I did that as a kid, you know, too. So that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm sure the others can relate where if I'm drawing a page and, you know, if I'm spending like a week on this page and putting all this extra detail and then I realize I'm like, oh, this will be looked at for about 5 to 10 seconds and then move. But it's all part of the fun. Like you said, it gets in, you know, the rereading, it gets them coming back and everything.
But hey, that's what you're doing. Even if it's just that serotonin rush, 10-second rush of looking at a cool, you know, little guy, a bubble guy, you know, that's kind of the trade-off that we have to do, you know, unfortunately, but it's cool. It stays with people, you know, like that's the cool thing about art is it sticks with you, you know?
Speaking of cool, if I didn't know any better, I think that Rodgers gave up and just turned on a video game, but that's when you got it zoomed out, it was looking pretty sweet there.
Oh yeah, it did. It's got the right glow.
Good angles, good perspective, dimensions, and all that stuff.
I hate perspective.
Well, you're testing yourself here. It's looking pretty good. So.
Doing something.
So if we're talking about young Dave, who's talking about loving comics and everything, is there a certain moment in your life when you realized you wanted to be a writer, you wanted to create? Like, is there things that influenced that? Do you have a specific memory? Take us back to when Dave turned into creator Dave.
Oh man, that's heavy. Let's see here. The cool thing is I have a very cool family, right? Like my dad rules, and my brother and sister are all awesome. And I always kind of like grew up around books, right? Like my dad reads more books than anyone I've ever met in my life. You know, he's always super into like horror, sci-fi, history, all that. He's just like, and super down to earth too. Like he's not like pretentious about it. He just like loves reading, right? So that was always just a thing we always had laying around. We always had comics in the house. We always had, crazy, H.P. Lovecraft novels laying around and Robert E. Howard Conan books. And there's always just art and books and culture around our house, right? So I was kind of born into it as far as just like it was always around and I was always fascinated by it. And one of my favorite things to do would be like if my dad would go to work, I would like sneak in his room and look at his like Frazetta covers and stuff. And as a kid, you think you're looking at I shouldn't be looking at this, like Barbarian Women and Conan and.
But secretly, your dad, if he knew, he'd be like, "That's my boy."
So totally, yeah. And I know like, he had to have known that every dad knows. If you guys are dads, every dad knows when people are touching your stuff and all that. But yeah. So we used to hit around the house, and I just started writing as a kid, just as like a thing to do, just because I don't know why I started.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to, it was this, and that's the thing too with like kids. Like I said, how it's not hard to like inspire them and encourage them. It was just something I was like, hey, this looks cool. And my dad was just like, oh yeah, you should do it. You should try it. Like it was no sort of like, you hear horror stories about kids being forced into sports or magic or, martial arts or whatever, tons of whatever. But he was just really like kind of just passive of like, yeah, this is cool. You should do it. That'll be whatever. And I think my first short story was like a really bad, like Resident Evil, like kind of rip off like zombie story thing. But I remember actually probably the one and only person that read it was my dad. And he was just like, oh yeah, this is really good. Like, I know it wasn't good. It sucked. Mm-hmm. But he was just like, oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and like, to me, that meant the world because as a kid, there's just this dude who reads a million books that I think are cool and, is saying this thing that I wrote is cool. It's like, I just thought that I was like, on top of the world or whatever. So yeah, that kind of just started it. Just that little kind of just positive push of kind of just like, supporting it, but like not making it a big deal, just letting me kind of explore myself creatively and kind of just do my thing. He would never say, oh, change this or do this, or you spelled this wrong. He would just be like, oh yeah, that was good. And that's the origin story right there. It's just, he was just like, he was present, with that sort of thing. Like he was just there. Yeah. And like, as a kid, you don't really pick up on that, but as an adult, I'm just like, that's like exactly what I try to do when I meet kids at these things and inspire them and encourage them. I'm just cool and casual and just saying, hey, this is cool. You should keep doing this, and this, because I know that kind of changed my life. So that was kind of the start of my journey, is just writing really bad prose, like zombie stories and all that. And
you've got to be ready to be bad at something before you can be good at it, right?
Totally.
And would young Dave ever guess that he would have a little input with the Star Wars universe? He got Star Wars Adventures, specifically with issue number 10 here. And then very recently, as of May 2025, a Free Comic Book Day special with the Young Jedi Adventures. So what would young Dave think of current Dave of getting to play in the Star Wars universe?
I think he probably just wouldn't even know what to think, because it's like, for most kids, it's like books kind of just like exist, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just there already, like you just pull them off a shelf and they're there. It's like, it took me a really long time to really realize. And again, that was probably that formative time when I started writing my own stories that like, hey, like actual human people create these things, And yeah, I don't know. I just remember playing, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter in my friend's backyard, just making the noises, running around and messing around with lightsabers and playing Super Star Wars on Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think it wasn't a possibility. It's never something I thought that would be possible, just because you don't really think about it in that way, like I kind of just fell into comics. It was never my like plan. You know, it was never this thing where like when I grow up I'm going to be, you know, this and this. It was just something I really enjoyed doing. I just kept doing it. I kind of just fell into it, you know. And
My one main question is, we see Yoda in the beginning of the story going off a little bit here. It's just like,
yeah.
a lot of these other characters, being with the young Jedi adventures and everything, but we see a very recognizable character in Yoda. Is that something that, if you have an idea for a story that, do you know that you can play with certain characters, and just talk about how you got to play with Yoda in this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that obviously, like, the cool thing is like Yoda's already a character in the cartoon, so it's kind of like it's fair game, you know.
Okay.
But definitely everything you kind of do ahead of time, you kind of just do quick little, like when I pitch stuff, it's a little bit. I don't know if you guys know like a log line. That's kind of just like a quick kind of synopsis of something, almost like something that would be on a poster or something. It's a little bit more involved on a log line, but it's in between that and like a full outline. Like it's kind of like a quick little summary or whatever. So everything I pitch, I just write a bunch of those, and that's the very gestational stage of like, here's a ton of ideas for this sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, like Empire Strikes Back, like Goofy Yoda, it's like I have to have that version. That's my favorite version of Yoda, you know. Weird little goofy kind of, and people kind of forget about that. Like, I'm all about I love all the Star Wars movies, all that, and it's like Yoda lightsabers and all that's cool too. But like, I like just weird, crotchety, weird, goofy Yoda smacking R2 with a little stick and all that. Like, that's my favorite version of Yoda, you know.
Just trying to steal little like space granola bars. Or something.
Yeah, amazing, yeah. And like, I remember as a kid too, I was just like transfixed by him, you know. He was just like so cool and funny, and just like, you know, you felt like you were meeting him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was my rules. Like, I have to have like a goofy, weird kind of Empire Strikes Back era Yoda.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We reached out to the internet for some of our people and finding out what their favorite video games and stuff is, and we do have an answer from Brian Lynch, our friend from Hot Winged Justice, and the new Jokin Lantern Instagram account. He's taken over the internet over there. When asked about favorite video games, he goes Atari 2600 and games like Pac-Man, Spider-Man, Indiana Jones, Kool-Aid, and Haunted House. So those are some of Brian's answers there. But the Kool-Aid. So we're talking about Pepsi Man and
Proto Pepsi Man.
Yeah, so Kool-Aid had his.
Kool-Aid Man did it before everyone.
He's the one that would smash through the wall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you guys been watching that show, The Studio?
No.
On HBO.
Episode. Yeah.
So it's like a new Seth Rogen show, and he basically is like a guy who kind of becomes like the head of like a movie studio.
Oh yeah.
In the first couple episodes, they're basically like, since Barbie's this big movie, the next thing is like, we have the rights to Kool-Aid Man. We're gonna make a Kool-Aid Man movie, and it's like a whole thing. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth is here somewhere. This is me doing another quick super speed round here. Bubble Bobble for Nintendo. Going to RBI Baseball. Yes, I did play a lot of sports games, even though I don't dabble in sports these days. The Ghostbusters game, mostly for the annoying, like 8-bit sounding, the
it just like keeps looping that, right? Like there's
it's just like you're doing like the world map, the top view, and it's just it's pretty annoying. The fact that they made a Where's Waldo video game, I absolutely love that one. A top favorite. I don't get a lot of people reacting to this one, but Solomon's Key. Does anyone know Solomon's Key?
No, that's cool though. It's Tecmo. That's a cool
cool like little like wizard magician guy, and you're building blocks, you're destroying blocks, and you're searching for to grab a key from one side of the map, and then it opens up a door on the other side, and you're jumping over villains and trapping villains, and you're constantly just using your wand to kind of create your own little like puzzle and stuff. But Solomon's Key was great. Big fan of The Legend of Zelda, so I got a lot of those. D. Brad's going to look when I say DuckTales.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then
that's
also,
a banger, too, right there. That's a classic, that game. Like, to this day, that game is great.
Yeah. And then Mickey Mouse Capade. Love that game as well. Love me some classic Mario and Duck Hunt, of course. Here's one that I had a fun little story with that we never had growing up, but I would go up the street at a neighbor's house because they had Gunsmoke.
That's cool. Man, that art's so good.
So yeah, when my brothers would be playing basketball outside, I'd run up there with them, but sneak inside the neighbor's house so I can go play Gunsmoke because we didn't have that game. It was a very exciting moment when I started making my own money and getting to buy that game myself, in addition to owning a full cabinet of Gunsmoke. So that's how much I love that. And then just multiple copies of Mario. I guess I grew up 2 of them by mistake. So yeah, that's another little speed round there to show off some regular Nintendo highlights. All right, do another little art check-in. I can't reach my colored pencils right now, but I'm going to do some light red shading in the bubble here, but I got the majority of it done, but I'll do a lot of touch-up work after the show, so this is either Bub or Bob. I don't know which one's which. But yeah, love me some Bubble Bobble. All right, we see Mario in full action there. I love it. I don't know if Troy, you with us right now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Am I muted?
Nope, I just wanted to make sure not that you run off and do something. So
No, I'm still here.
love
Enjoying listening.
Mario.
I love the wrench in hand too, the little details. Huh? Very cool.
Thank you.
Is there
I
any
still
room?
wonder, should I do little dark spots, Just feels like they should be there even though they're not.
Oh, you're having a little bit of, what is that called? Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And D-Bread, we moved on from the Pac-Man, and what are we looking at now?
This is from the opening theme song of the Q*bert portion of Saturday Supercade. And this is Q*bert and his girlfriend dancing. What was kind of interesting about Q*bert is they made him a teenager in the late 1950s rock and roll era.
Cool.
So that's so they go to, it's kind of like Happy Days.
That's really fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Gosh darn adorable.
I really like your art style, D-Brad. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's amazing.
It's really fun.
We have
Brad rules.
we have an evil ghost over on Rodgers' screen there.
Oh,
I love those eyes.
It's not just any ghost. Its name's Clyde.
Clyde.
Clyde, yeah.
Because what do we have? What is it, like Inky, Blinky, or right? They got all, and then there's Clyde.
Yeah. And then they added in the cartoon there was also one female ghost.
Ooh. Did the female ghost? Oh, in the cartoon, you said?
In the cartoon, that's her. I don't remember her name though right now.
Let's call her Susan for right now.
Susan. She shall be known as.
All right, now we are going to jump into this next little segment I have set aside now. Dave, you had 2 different topics that you shouted out. We lean towards the video games thing, but that means that doesn't mean we can't talk about this because you like horror, you love spooky things, you like to tell people to stay spooky. You may have written that to me in this very book here. Let me see if that's in this. Maybe not this one, but there's another one that says stay spooky. So we're talking about the Spooky Sleepover Volume 1 alongside Jess Smart Smiley. This is 3 comics to thrill, Terror of the Toilet, Ghost Bike, and Dinner and a Werewolf. This is a fun little collection I bought from you a couple years ago. 3 little short stories, and can you kind of talk about your love for horror and spookiness and kind of what led into working on this and meeting Jess Smart Smiley?
Yeah, so I grew up just like with comics. I grew up with, horror stuff just because it was always around the house. I remember being horrified by like Tales from the Crypt. Like even though I couldn't get enough of it, like the intros used to scare me so much. Like when you even the music would scare me. But like when you'd pop out at the end, I would always like cover my eyes. I'd be so freaked out, but I couldn't get enough. I would watch all the time when we'd watch it, but I was just like so freaked out by it. So horror anthologies, I for sure have a very like, I have a huge love of just like anthology horror, and just short stories in general. Cause that's what I started doing. I started creating short stories like early on. And I think it's just always fun having like, yeah, there we go. That's the big hit. That one too. Is the toilet one. That's the one kids always talk about.
Oh yeah.
Which is really funny too. It's like I'll do events and kids will be like, yeah, I love the toilet one, and the kids will be talking about it and the parents will do an eye roll or be like, oh. But it's like, hey, I didn't make it for you. I made it for the kid, So so that's how you gotta look at it. Yeah, no, yeah. Were you saying, Troy? Or would you say, Rodgers?
I got tracked down all 7 seasons.
Oh, yeah,
of
see,
Tales
yeah.
from the Crypt.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Those are never on Blu-ray either, though, because like licensing is like a nightmare for those.
Yeah, it took me forever to find all these.
Those will probably never be on Blu-ray because it's just so hard to coordinate all that. What was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, Jess rules. I knew Jess just through social media, just like on like Facebook, just like adding other people's work I enjoyed. And that was probably I don't necessarily consider that my first professional thing because it was Kickstarter, but I guess sort of because people did pay us to make it, kind of, even though all the money basically went into printing it.
Yeah.
But that definitely is something that got my first professional job in comics. Like it was kind of I always tell people when they're pitching, like, oh, how do I get the attention of editors or whatever, this, and this, especially for like writers, right? Because it's so much harder for you to kind of gauge if a comic writer is any good, because you can't just like hand someone a script. Like nobody wants to read that, and it's just this whatever, So handing someone like a completed comic, I think, is like that's the way you do it if you're a comics writer. And that was sort of our calling card for a while, was Spooky Sleepover, because it was like, here's this thing that I made with my friend, and we, created these stories and printed it and all this, and it kind of taught me a lot about just collaboration and just like I don't know, it was just a big learning step. And that came out, is there a year on that? I'm trying to remember when that even came out.
Let me
I think
take
it
a
was
look
like
here. 2014.
2014, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, that was just like a huge kind of big step as far as my comics career and all that. And yeah, Jess is amazing. He's a great cartoonist, and working with him was really great. There was a time too where we are going to do more of them, and that kind of life got in the way as far as how things are with just projects. Sometimes just the stuff just doesn't work out or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a time when we were going to pitch like a trilogy of them, and then I just forgot what happened. I think we just both got busy and all this sort of thing. But yeah, a lot of memories with that one. That one was cool, and I'm so proud of that. And
yeah, I reread it this morning, and it's great, just fun. 3 little short stories that are all kind of being told through a group of kids at like a sleepover type. Well, it's called Spooky Sleepover. So
yeah, with the book ending. Yeah.
And so yeah, it's kind of cool, and just kind of see their reactions after each story, and just kind of seeing how tough they may or may not be, just based on how spooky the stories get. So
Yeah.
Definitely a great read. Now, we talked about Jess Smart Smiley. Now, this book has a very beautiful introduction by someone who we are all very aware of. If Dave does not know this show, Cartoonist by Night, exists because of All Yeah Comics. Through Art, Franco, and Scoot, our fandom of loving their books and getting to contribute with their titles and tabling alongside these people, we all exist because of All Yeah Comics, and seeing each other in the different chat groups and comment sections, and just becoming friends, and birthed the show Cartoonist by Night. And we've had many people who have contributed to All Yeah Comics, and you are no different, because yourself and Jess have stories here, starting off with All Yeah Comics, I believe issue number 8. Can you talk about your relationship with meeting Art and Franco and kind of getting into the fold of this universe, which I'm sure probably just kind of got you just even more exposure and just more creativity? So let's hear your All Yeah Comics origin story.
Yeah, so it's cool because, like I said, for the longest time, I kind of grew up, reading comics and going to comic conventions and all that. And, back to, comic conventions, you go up to creators and you say, hey, this was cool. I like this. When's the next one coming out? Blah, 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 blah. And, I've had pretty good luck, but sometimes depending on who you're dealing with, some people are just kind of, I don't know. Sometimes in comics, people could just be like jerks, right? But like, oh my God, I haven't seen that in like man, I'm getting emotional now. I haven't seen that in like forever. That looks so good too. I love like the Action Cat in the Snow, Frostbite days, like the dinosaur.
You just mentioned sometimes people can be jerks, and then you see a project done with like the nicest person on earth.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was yeah. So you kind of, it's kind of a roll of the dice, right? Especially like when you're a kid, when you're coming up to people and all that. But I remember Art and Franco were every single convention, it used to be Wizard World or Chicago Comic Con, whatever.
Yep.
But every Wizard World, my brother would take me. Would take the train. It was like my favorite day of the year. We would go, and Art and Franco were always so cool to me, so funny. They would draw stuff for me. They were super cool, whatever. And again, this was something that I kind of just fell into. So it was never like a thing where I was like telling them I want to do this or whatever. I never knew that, right? But like just how cool they were to me was sort of like the kind of seed in my brain as far as like planting this, like, I don't know, just like they just treated me like an adult, like a person. They just talked to me and they were goofy and they were nice, And most of the times too, I'm sure I probably didn't buy anything. I probably just bugged them and like whatever, And let's see, like, I guess just as I grew up kind of just going to these conventions, and every year I would go there and more and more. And I remember the one year it was one of the Wizard Worlds where the announcement just dropped that Art and Franco are doing Tiny Titans. So this was before Tiny Titans even existed.
Oh.
But I remember I was at the convention when they announced it, and I remember walking up to them being like, "Oh my god, this is perfect, you guys! This is going to be so good." Blah blah blah. Because I love like Patrick the Wolf Boy and Cray Babies and all that sort of stuff. I would always buy Patrick the Wolf Boy. That was the ones I bought from them. And they were always just so cool and friendly and like cool to me. And just throughout the years, just kind of life took a weird turn where I kind of just started making my own stuff. And I don't even know how I got even like into the book.
Well,
I was already doing my own stuff.
I know, because in the Spooky Sleep.
Oh, does it already say in there? Yeah.
There, I won't read all of it, but it is.
Yeah.
This needs to just be printed and framed and hung out, hung on your wall, because it's hilarious. So, a little introduction from the famous cartoonist himself. I'll just pick apart a couple pieces here. He goes, "I like Dave Scheidt and Jess Smart Smiley. I think I first met modern Dave years ago, either at Challengers Comics or Alternate Reality or at Chicago Comic-Con. I know he knew me before I knew him. Young Dave Scheidt was a fan of my first comic book called The Crybaby Adventures. That was a long time ago, early mid-90s. I was a young and aspiring 23-year-old artist publishing my own comic, and Dave was a preteen, smooth, pre-bearded kid. He looked different than he does now. Almost like an alternate Earth version of the same guy. That's probably why I don't remember our first encounter. I met lots of people at lots of comic shows in lots of cities. I just kind of always saw this guy hanging around wherever comic people hung around, hovering. And I finally got to know Dave, and when he got hairy." So...
that's so nice. I'm gonna cry now. That's so nice.
And then he goes on to say that you basically just submitted a story for All Yeah Comics, and he just complimented and he loved Jess's take on Action Cat, and just saying, "Oh, he twisted him, he stretched him, he just did." Art always appreciates when he sees somebody else's version of Action Cat, knowing that's their take on it. So that's it.
I think for him too, and like back to like, like trying to like make it in comics, whatever that means. It's like you have lots of people come up to you and you interact and you meet tons of people and all that. But I think like for me, I was already kind of just doing it. And I know Artie probably meets a lot of people that really want to do it and almost like ask him to like draw a story for me, do this and this. Like we were already doing our own stuff. And I think that really went a long way as far as him kind of letting me in a little bit, like I was already making stuff like, I don't know if a lot of people saw it too. I don't even know if you know it, Anthony. Like one of the first comics I did was this book called Monster Dudes. And it was like just
I've heard about
Monster Dudes, yeah. And I think I would give Artie copies of Monster Dudes or something, and that was like, 2011, 2010, something like that. And so I think that's part of it. I think he just, I don't know, he saw something in me or something, And to me that means the world, because like to this day it's like these two dudes who I like admire their work so much, just creatively, just as like comics people, to have them be my friends and be this like huge part of my life, is the best. And it's super cool. And it's like, that just taught me so much as far as like, even if you have this like tiny little platform, it's like you're able to kind of help people out, bring people up, put people on, that sort of thing. I know Art and Franco, for them, they're super good at, I just kind of like knowing stuff and seeing people and, knowing who to bring in and surround themselves with,
Mm-hmm.
And they're just, I don't know, they're the best. They're the coolest dudes in the world. Like I'm so lucky to have friends like those guys.
Yeah, it's definitely great to revisit that stuff and just kind of revisit those comments and, looking at you guys now and friends and hanging out, it was meant to be, all this partnership and friendship and everything. So
Every time we hang out, Artie will always be like, "Yeah, I remember like little Swatchy. I remember he used to come like I know it means a lot to him too." And it's like,
yeah,
it's just so cool because it's just like I don't know, like I said, we meet millions of people, at these things, and like I don't know, it's just really nice. And like I said, that really shaped me as far as like, you know, kind of just like everyone in comics who's like made it, whatever, like multiple people have helped them out, and it's like you could be that person even if you're not this huge name or whatever, you could still help bring people in.
Going back to the horror and spookiness of it all, here is the Dead Sound, which this is the one that says spooky here. So I've been trying to stay spooky for a couple of years now. So there.
We used to have pins too. I don't have them anymore, but I used to have pins. I might bring them back.
So yeah, if you go to Dave's site, you can actually read some of this stuff on there too. There's a physical copy that I got printed here. But yeah, the Dead Sound, a group of dead guys basically getting the band back together, and it's a small little zine story that it feels longer than what it actually is. Like there's just so much story crammed into a small little compact creation here. Can you talk about Tim Beard here and the basically what led you to the Dead Sound?
Yeah, so the cool thing with Tim too, because Tim rules, by the way. So shout out to Tim Beard.
Yeah.
He found out randomly, just like I think he was a backer for Spooky Sleepover. So he was just somebody who just already liked what we were doing, which is crazy to me because he's awesome and he's a great cartoonist, great dude, great dad. I think he like drew Spooky Sleepover fan art or something for us. He like sent me something one time, and I was like, "Dude, this guy's stuff's awesome. Like, this is really cool." So I think that's how we started talking. I think he sent me some sort of art, and like when, especially too, everyone in comics, everyone wants to work with each other, right? Everyone has this thing, and it's all about timing and kind of making it work and all this sort of thing. But Tim was one of those people who are like, "Oh, I got to get him on something. I don't know what it's going to be, but we got to work on something." And I think it just so happened that we're both big like Halloween freaks, and I think I broke my streak a couple times, but I always like to have something new out around Halloween just because it's kind of my way of celebrating or whatever. So I was like, let's just do this book specifically just to release around Halloween, just for fun, just to do this thing, whatever. And yeah, and we just had a buddy we knew who printed it, and I actually need to get more copies of that because I'm still pretty proud of that. And that was another important thing of like making stuff for fun, because it's you could get kind of in a rut with comics because it's like deadlines and you're working with a team and there's a million other things, but it's so fun just to kind of remember why you're doing it, and just like make something cool with your friends. And yeah, that was just a lot of fun. And it just, yeah, I don't know. I liked it. Thanks for bringing that up though. I liked it. I missed that book.
I think it shows in your work and the writing, where you are doing what you love and the things, whether it be the horror movies, but also your love for pizza. There's always something pizza related that kind of gets thrown into a lot of your stuff there. So you can definitely see that you're having fun, especially when you're doing these, creator owned projects and, having your freedom to do whatever you want, essentially.
There's a thread in there too, where if people are paying attention, where if usually maybe one or two times it was different, but if you read any of my books that have pizza in it, it's always from a place called Nice Slice.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my little overarching thing where that's from another book we did with my buddy Aaron. It was like a horror slasher thing called Slice. And that was the name of the pizza place. It's like a little pizza guy with like winking.
Yeah.
But anytime there's pizza in a comic I write, I always make it from Nice Slice. So it's like this weird little overarching kind of like shared universe thing, even though it's not, like it's just fun for me to see if people are paying attention.
That's awesome.
Which I don't think anyone's ever brought it up, so maybe I'm the only one, but for me it's fun. So
reading it, knowing that you did Slice, even though I've never read Slice,
I
knew that existed as a thing, and then rereading this, I did notice that where the pizza is coming from, but I haven't read that original thing. So
yeah, it's in Wrapped Up. It's in Mayor Goodboy, I think. It's going to be in the new book, Ollie Island. It definitely is. I wrote some of that in there. It's in. Oh, I think I even snuck it into some work for hire stuff too.
It's in Young Jedi Knights.
Yeah, Young Jedi Adventures. Yeah, I wish I could put it in there.
Yeah, there's Jabba the Slice, I think was
I wish I could have had it more like sneaking stuff in or whatever. I did get to name in the Star Wars thing. I got to name a turtle after my friend John. Like his last name's Baron, so I got to create like a creature and name it after my buddy who's like the world's biggest Star Wars fan.
I do remember that name in there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, stuff like that's fun to do. I don't know. Like trying to sneak. I think the funniest thing I've ever done though, where I like tried to sneak something in, is I did a bunch of these like DreamWorks Trolls comics like back in the day.
Yes.
And in one and now I know how to do it now too. You just tell the artist, you don't put it in the actual script. That's why I messed up, where I had to sneak something in the script. But Rodgers, you might pick up on this if you guys are horror movie guys. But I put in one of the Trolls stories where there was just a sign on the ground that says Nilbog. Do you guys know what that's from?
Nilbog. No.
It sounds super familiar. You're gonna.
So there's this movie that they consider it's like the best worst movie in the world. It's called Troll 2.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like this family goes to this town called Nilbog, and the revelation is Nilbog is goblin backwards, and it's like this like there's like evil dudes or whatever. But I tried to put a Nilbog sign in there. That's all it was. It's just there's a sign that says Nilbog, and someone at DreamWorks clocked it, was like, there's no goblins in the Troll world. Please delete. So they picked up on it though. They knew what Nilbog was. So I don't know if they knew it was from Troll 2.
Right.
And the fact that I was trying to fit this like insane, gross, disgusting, Italian horror movie in like a children's book, whatever. That made me laugh so much though when I tried to sneak that in. They're like, "Yeah, you can't put that in there." All right, I tried.
Talking about putting like friends' names into things. If we go into Rice Christopher issue 1, we know that D. Brad Gibson, his first episode of Cartoonist by Night was talking about cartoon ducks, being a cartoon duck enthusiast. And there's a little ad over here for Duckby Radson Savage Pond Tours. There's a little Canadian duck there, so there's
love it.
That's always fun putting those little touches in there. So
yeah, they are fun. Well, Easter eggs.
Yeah, I love it.
And D. Brad, I think you still have to pay me for that cameo. So if you want to send that over to PayPal, just we'll settle up at the end. Let's talk about some video games again. Is there current video games, Dave, that you're really into that are just kind of blowing your mind? I'm not too much into the current video game world.
Yeah.
So can you kind of enlighten us on what's happening right now?
Put you on some game, no pun intended. Let's see. I'm obsessed with this card game. It's called Balatro, whatever you want to call it. Where it's like this. The concept seems really simple, right? Like you're playing poker hands. But the whole thing is like you'll get cards that are like crazy modifiers. Where say you start with like a regular like 52 card deck, right? But then you could get like a weird power up that like you could convert 3 cards into hearts, so you could make a flush easier, or you could do whatever. But they give you all these like crazy modifiers where it completely changes and breaks the rules of poker. And I've been obsessed with that just because it's kind of quick. I play it in the background and all that. It's like this huge phenom, this indie game thing. Like people are obsessed with it. What else have I been playing? I've been replaying Cyberpunk. I shouldn't be, just because that consumed my life last time I played that. That's just like a cool kind of sci-fi action kind of role-playing thing. And I've been playing a little bit of the new Doom game, Doom: The Dark Ages. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super good.
Yeah. But I play these after I finish my scripts. So in case anyone's listening to this, I've been focusing more on my publishing than I have video games. And if Scoot's listening to this, I've been getting him mad about this stuff. But I'll literally like post, like I'll put on like Facebook or Twitter, like, "Oh my God, the new Doom is awesome." And Scoot will be like, "Work on the book." So.
Yeah. When I think out of all of us beyond, Dave, but amongst Cartoonists by Night, Matt Rodgers, I think you're still very active in the video game world. So is there any modern current games that are taking over your life after all of your work has been submitted?
If you want to drive yourself crazy, there's a game called Blueprints.
Oh, I hear that's wild. Yeah, my buddy was playing that.
It's insane. So it's like you're this kid and your grandpa died and left you his house. But every time you go in the front door, the house resets and you have to build it with every game. And so every time you open a door, it pops up and you get to pick from 3 rooms to place. And there is a room at the far north side that you need to make it to. And but to get there, there's like puzzles and there's all this stuff, and there's different rooms that interact with other rooms in certain ways, and you need to pay really close attention. You have to find levers, but it's all randomly generated.
Mm.
And I think it took me about 25 hours to make it to that room. And basically, once you find that room, they say that you've beat the tutorial of the game because then there's like it opens up this giant mystery. And I have a whole notebook, like a physical notebook where I have kept notes and made drawings to like keep track of stuff. And then my wife got addicted to it too. And we're like, I'm watching her play it and I'm getting like, oh man, you got the furnace room. You need to, if you get the furnace room, you have to do this other stuff with this other room and you need to drain the swimming pool. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. But that game's fun. I've been playing the new Doom. It's a good time. What was the other game that I played? I picked up I can't remember the name of it. The new Star Wars game where he plays the woman that's like a
Oh,
commando.
Outlaws.
Yeah, I've been picking up Outlaws and that game's been driving me insane.
In a good way.
I love
Yes.
it too. Like the way you
God.
described all these is like we're talking about how much we love video games, and we just go on about like how stressful they are. Yeah, it's just escape. I just want to be like stressed out all the time.
Right. Well, it's like the new the what Night Rain, the Elden
Yeah, that's
Ring
the same thing too. Yeah,
spin-offs
Elden
coming
Ring.
out. I'm
Some people
picking
are like, "Why
that
do you
up.
play those?" It's like I don't tell you. I'm a broken person. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, Robin, she's like, should I play that? And I was like, no,
Yeah,
it'll just make you so mad.
yeah. I'm really into the publisher's called From Software, and they do like Elden Ring, Bloodborne, and a bunch of these games, Dark Souls. The whole thing is like they're super super hard, and like I don't know why I like them, but there's something very cool about like finally beating a boss. You fight these like giant monsters and creatures and stuff, and the art
Right.
direction is amazing on it. So part of the reason I love those things is like games like that, but I don't blame people who can't get into those. I don't know why I like them, but just you know, the
They're so
limited time I
fun.
have to myself, I just torture myself by playing these games and stuff. But somebody's got to do it.
Doing another.
I don't torture myself. Who else?
Exactly. Yeah. I'd rather it be me than someone else, though, right? You know.
Here.
Doing another speed round, jumping over to the Super Nintendo era. I love me some Zelda: Link to the Past,
Oh yeah, classic.
the Batman Returns video game,
Ooh.
Tiny Toon Adventures with Buster Bust Loose.
Tiny the tuning.
Continuing on with my sports love as a kid, but Tecmo Super Bowl is a top game right there.
So who is that on there? Troy? Is that Troy Aikman for the jocks in here in the room?
Yeah, I'm not going to remember that one, but
It looks
All I
like
remember is when I was a kid for Tecmo Bowl, nobody was allowed to play as the Raiders because it had they had Bo Jackson who had 99s and everything.
yeah, that sounds right.
Well, there's a cool thing too. I know you guys were saying you haven't really played like this like sports stuff since like the really older games, but there's a cool thing where people do this thing called ROM hacking, where they kind of like reprogram stuff and like put new stuff in. But there's people that like add new rosters to like old games, so you could play like NHL '95, but you could have like the 2025 Blackhawks in it. Like people like update them, so they'll have like modern players. Like they updated that, and there's an NBA Jam that has like new basketball players and stuff in it. But it's the old Sega one. It just has like LeBron and stuff like that.
Boomer shakalaka.
Classic.
Mario,
They made that in Chicago too, NBA Jam.
oh yeah, that's
that was made
here
here.
somewhere. Mario Paint was a game changer when it comes to like creating music and like having a mouse and just playing. Like, just did a lot of interesting stuff. Mario Kart is a top favorite all across the board of every system and every version, and I'm excited for the Mario Kart World that's announced with Nintendo Switch 2. Dave mentioned the Super Star Wars
Oh, yeah.
games, so yeah, those are
Those games are so hard. Like they're cool, but they're
Yeah.
like unbelievably hard.
We talked about sports, but NBA Live 96, that's one of those that, I had a pretty superstar team of Orlando Magic and just having just 5 amazing players that I just dominated, with your Nick Andersons, your Dennis Scotts, your Shaq, your Penny, Horace Grant. That's a pretty huge lineup over in Live 96. And then a rare game here of Vegas Stakes, because I remember it kind of has like a little like story mode. It's not just playing card games on a TV screen, but there was moments that you would like go through the hotel, and it's all just kind of like generated story mode or something. But you would just like randomly find out that you got pickpocketed. There's no reason. Like I think it just
randomly,
no matter what. So it was fun just being like, oh man, just because I, happened to like go back to my hotel room or something and going from the table to the hotel, then you get pickpocketed. So that was pretty nuts. So yeah, there's that. And then Genesis, even though I was mostly a Nintendo kid, but I cannot, go wrong with Sonic the Hedgehog and that being a big game changer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone has played Sonic Spinball, but
I love it. I grew up with that too. Like it sucks, but I also love it.
Yeah, this is another
one of those things. Yeah, we played so much that as kids.
So bad. I love it. So dead. Just terrible.
Well, you know what it was too is like we didn't have a ton of games to play as kids, so like we just would play that nonstop just because we had that and like, oh god, what were the Genesis games we had? We had Sonic Spinball, Sonic 1, Sonic 2. And then NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Yeah.
MK3. And I forgot what the other one. A game called Jungle Strike. Where it's like you're a helicopter and you're just like flying around, doing whatever. Good stuff.
Love it. Let's see here. You mentioned Scoot McMahon a couple times, so of course I had this stuff lined up here because we have Wrapped Up by Dave and Scoot. Can you kind of talk about not only with the creation of Wrapped Up, but how did you and Scoot meet? Now, Scoot had his own episode here on Cartoonist by Night. I didn't have time to revisit it to get his side of the story, but we'll compare episodes after the fact. So how do you remember it with your origin stories with teaming with Scoot?
Yeah. So it starts off one night. We both end up in county prison, and I offered him my Jell-O cup, and he was into it. I think, I think the story Scoot tells. I think we met at like an Oh Yeah event.
Okay.
Because a lot of the times, like if they were doing like conventions, that would have like a party at the store. So it might have been one of those where there was like a pre C2E2 party or pre something, and I'm sure just like because like Artie's like Art Brothstar, he's definitely one to. Like if he likes you, he'll talk about you a lot, right? Like, and I think maybe he was talking me up to Scoot or something, because Scoot met him, I think, through just the convention circuit, like Wizard World, and them just kind of having similar aesthetics and kind of having like the same interest in cartooning and comics and all that sort of stuff. So I think it might have been like an Oh Yeah party or something. Because I do have a memory where there was one. I mean, this happens at every event we do, but people always just end up drawing like really crude drawings of me. And it was just like people are kind of just one-upping, like just drawing me with stink lines and like flies around and just like weird, gross, like funny stuff or whatever. So I think there was like one Oh Yeah party where like literally like every single person drawing, like Alejandro Rosado, he was drawing it, and Scoot and Artie and Franco, and I forgot who else was doing it. But yeah, we definitely like connected right away. Scoot is just like very like super funny in a really low key way, like he's not like as like loud and annoying as I am. He's like more low key, but like we definitely like sync up, like we make each other laugh probably more than anyone,
right?
And I don't know, we just always had like a chemistry, just like as friends, just like meeting each other. And then creatively we still have that really cool shorthand as far as like I know what he likes drawing and I know what makes him laugh, vice versa. So it's like we kind of try to like one up each other a little bit as far as what we bring to the, do this and this and this. And, like our process is pretty cool because I don't write like super strict script, right? Like my scripts are like pretty chill as far as, I'm not like, you have to do this and this and this and this. And, I don't get super descriptive. I'm very kind of loose as far as, describing something. Because at the end of the day, my job as a comic writer is I'm telling the story to my artist and the artist is telling it to the audience, right? So it's like he's always going to do the better way of delivering it and all that sort of thing. So I definitely want him to do his thing. So he's cool where like he'll change stuff in scripts, but it ends up being like way better, whether it's deleting panels or adding panels or switching it around and all that. And like I'm totally cool with it because it's like he gets what we're doing, you know. So it's like we have a really good shorthand. There's no ego with it, you know. Like we're both kind of we both just want to make good comics, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's a really fun way to work because there's a lot of trust, you know. There and it's a lot of like unspoken stuff too. Like he never has to, unless it's something major. Like rarely is he like, hey, can you do this or should I switch this or whatever. It's just we kind of just go with it, you know. And I don't know, just as like you need someone you could count on, you know, with something like that with comics because it is this like tight knit thing. And I don't know, I don't think there's a better creative partner than that to be able to have that sort of shorthand and kind of just like kind of sharing a part of our brain together, you know.
So much.
He's also just amazingly good too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's so quick and he's so just like fluid and dynamic, and just like getting to like write stories for him is just like just watching him draw, just like creating something out of nowhere too is just so dynamic and so like I don't know how he does it, honestly.
We had.
I don't think he does either because his hand is in the way. He literally can't see what he's doing. It just happens. Magic.
Yeah, we had him on here talking about Batman the Animated Series, and you know we're all drawing a character here or two. You know, D. Brad's got a half a dozen characters drawn, and then by the end of the episode, I think Scoot drew every single character that ever appeared on screen throughout the four seasons of that show, and he just had a huge, awesome page of just everybody you can imagine, and it was just magic.
But D. Brad, you did like storyboards and stuff, right? Like kind of because I feel like you like your stuff is so like also like really like flowy and dynamic too, like.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like built in.
Mostly, I drew quite quickly, like it would be like thumbnail, like my drawings would be like really rough, like like this, kind of even like that.
Yeah.
And then we would blow them up bigger, present them, and then we would clean them up after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like having the gesture done quick.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even just with like, that's another very weird thing about like, not weird, but it's a really cool thing about kids comics too, is like, as like adults, you know, you're like, hey, what was your favorite part of this comic? And you can say, oh, I love the ending, or I love this character. Like little kids will be like, I love this little guy in the background in the window, or I like this guy falling out of a, you know, skyscraper or whatever. Like they always notice like weird little things. So I think like for cartoonists, you guys are all about putting like goofy, weird little things in there. Like kids like really like pick up on stuff like that, you know, like weird little, I like the look on this guy's face or something, you know, like I love that they pick up on stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
So yeah, you had wrapped up, and then you continued your partnership to do some Agents of Slam. I know a lot of this is, you know, Scoot McMahon's a big fan of wrestling. I'm kind of curious.
Oh yeah.
You talked about knowing, you know, what he likes to draw and this and that.
Oh yeah.
What is your interest with pro wrestling, or do you share that with him? How did this happen? Was that specifically for him, or what?
Yeah, so that was the cool thing too, is like Wrapped Up was kind of like at the time was kind of my thing, right? Like I brought the idea to Scoot, and then we kind of created it together, but it was kind of like a, hey, what if we did this? And Slam was like the opposite of that. It was Scoot bringing this, hey, wouldn't this be cool if we did this, this, and this? And it definitely comes just from our love of professional wrestling and growing up. And Scoot's a little bit older than I am, but like I grew up for the most part, like Attitude Era was like when I was like super into wrestling. Yeah. And like even to this day, like every single day we're like sending each other like, you know, weird Papa Shango gifts or like Stone Cold Steve Austin or something like that. Like humor is such a big part of our relationship. Like me and Scoot, like we just like goofing and making each other laugh and stuff. So even to this day, like we're super into just like talking about wrestling and just like funny stuff, just because it's so. I think I get the same thing out of wrestling than I do like cartoons. You know, like there's just such good like funny storytelling and weird moments and stuff that you could laugh about. You know, like weird characters, weird moments, like stuff like that. So it's like, so yeah, Slam was kind of just like our love of just like not like, you know, 80s, 90s wrestling, and mixed in with just like our own philosophies about like hero worship and, you know, how people you like admire could let you down and stuff like that. But it was so fun. Like that book was so fun to work on. And that's like another thing too, where it's like, I know Slam does really well in libraries. Like a lot of kids read that on Hoopla, and a lot of kids read that, or is it Hoopla, or is it, what was the other one they read on?
Maybe
Epic Kids. That's what it's on. So a lot of our readers we get from Epic Kids that has Wrapped Up in Slam on there. So we hear from a lot of kids that read it at school and stuff. And again, that's crazy to me too. Yeah.
It's a big part of the kids lit, the library stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a cool thing too, because Epic is like an app, right? Like it's a thing that school purchases.
Yeah.
So it's like when kids have free time, or say they finish a test or whatever, they all have their laptops or whatever, and they could like, oh yeah, pick a book you want to read. And some of our stuff's on there for free, which is like amazing. Like,
oh yeah,
we made these things for people to read,
Yeah.
And I think about, like, I'm not even that old, but I think about when I was a kid, if I brought comics to school, the teacher would take them like it's contraband. You're not supposed to bring these here or whatever.
Oh, really?
But now it's like this thing where it's like it's a reward, and it should be, because reading is something that should be encouraged. And you definitely realize why like reluctant readers are such a thing, because it's, for a lot of kids, it's homework. It's just like this thing that's forced upon them, instead of being like, hey, pick something you think is cool, which there's a book about anything you like, you know what I mean? Like any sort of interest you have, you could probably find something. But like for me in my generation, a lot of it was just like, they push these really boring books on you, or these like classics, and they act like there's something wrong with you if you don't think that this book you just read is the greatest novel in the world, But if it sucks, if you're not into it, it's like you're gonna think homework. It's like homework,
Mm-hmm.
And but the whole comic thing rules is because we just get to make funny, dynamic, goofy stuff that we think is cool. But like kids are still reading it, and they're still engaging with it, and they're still learning from this, our stuff. So it's pretty cool.
To do another speed round here, love me some classic Game Boy. Kirby's Dream Land was a time for me, and the Super Mario 6 Golden Coins. Definitely had myself the Game Boy Advance, the fuchsia color, and getting excited about that one. Going through the DS days as well as
Lite.
3DS days.
I've been playing my DS Lite actually lately.
Oh, nice.
I have that same exact one too. That's awesome.
And followers of the show know that I've been in a real Ren and Stimpy resurgence this year. Yeah. So I got the Ren and Stimpy Vidiots game from the original Game Boy.
That's awesome.
Buffy even had a Game Boy game.
That's awesome, man.
Going into Game Boy Advance, there's this Jurassic Park builder that was like a Sim City but Jurassic Park. And I was very bad at the game because like I would just be playing it, you're setting up your park, and then somehow I would just get a notice that the dinosaurs got out and ate all my customers. I just did not know how to prevent that. I've seen all
like the movie, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that game would I'd play in 5-minute increments and lose every time.
That's great.
Nintendogs was an interesting little game, and so taking care of the dog there.
What happens in that?
It's like a virtual pet. It's like you literally adopt a puppy, you just play with it, you feed it, you hang out.
You can train it with the stylus and like teach it tricks and stuff like that.
That was huge too.
Yeah.
That was like, that game sold like insane.
They're like nano pets?
Yeah, kind of. Like just like the cool thing with DS was like it reached that like when you're saying you guys were into the Wii, like DS had that like casual kind of like, they were going for everyone now. They had like what was like Brain Age, where it's like you're doing like math puzzles and all this sort of stuff. Like they were like going for completely different audiences with that. So it's like super interesting.
Hey guys, I'm sorry to cut you short, but I gotta go. Dave, it was really good meeting you.
Yeah, man, for sure, dude.
Listening to you, I really like your comics and
thanks,
and
man.
stuff.
I appreciate that.
Keep it up.
Can we get one quick shot of your Mario before you leave, if it's nearby?
Unless if I ever draw you, I promise there won't be flies.
Yeah, I can do stick lines. So that's great. I love that. It looks really fun.
So good.
That's awesome.
All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Good, guys.
Had to dust off the Game Gear and see what game was in there, and there was a Power Rangers game that was not there yet.
Wow, Anthony, you're like a museum.
Yeah, and I want to just like I said, speed round. So going into PlayStation, I had mentioned Tomb Raider being like a big like game changer. I had some Tekken 2. Absolutely love the Tekken games. Grand Theft Auto is one of those things. Even back to the regular PlayStation ones, the top-down view, but those games just ate up my life there. So
I got a Tomb Raider story for you. You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
So this was, oh God, what was this? This was either like Tomb Raider 2 or Tomb Raider 3 era, right? So it's still PS1. And I I usually just tell this story. There's nothing bad in this story. It's just like funny to me to say this like publicly. Usually I say it just like to friends and stuff. Yeah. So growing up, like there was a kid behind us, like across like on the other block, and they just moved in. And then I don't know how you ever get to know them. You just a friend talks to them and whatever. So I basically, oh hey, you're into video games, cool. We got talking about video games and what we're playing and all that. And like this kid had a bunch of games, right? He had all the Tomb Raider games. And I was like, dude, you got to let me borrow those. He's like, yeah, okay, cool. Just like take care of it. I'm like, yeah, no problem. No problem. So he let me borrow, I think it was Tomb Raider 1 and 2, and I think both strategy guides for those for the PS1. And at the time, I was probably, oh God, I don't even know how old I was. It's probably like 11, 12, something like that. It was something like that. I cut out all these pictures of Lara Croft in the strategy guide. Like pictures of her just like jumping or whatever, you know.
Oh, yeah, crush on her.
Yeah, of course, Lara Croft. Man. It was like, at the time, that was like that's all we had back then, you know. Like kids don't know how good they have it now, you know. Like that's all we had for a while was Lara Croft. And in the strategy guide, like I cut up all these pictures of like Lara Croft, and then I gave it back to him, and like hoping he didn't like realize. And he came back. He's like, "Dude, what did you ruin my book? You know, why did you cut out all these things?" I was like, "Dude, I promise you that was not me. Like I did not do that." And hopefully to this day I've never admitted to that, but now it's out in the open. Then
it's public now.
Yeah. What if he comes after me now?
Yeah, we can cut it out.
He did do it. He's been stalking you this whole time.
At this part, you can cut it out.
Yeah. Tomb Raider 2 admissions. Yeah, confessions. Yeah, that was I mean that's what I get for being a little pervert at that age, so that was on me.
I'm wondering when future Anthony does the editing here with the Atari joystick, there might be a way to exclude that one person from ever hearing that story. So
yeah, I think it's good though. I like to free it. I got to get it out in the world. It's been haunting me for.
Feels better now, eh?
Yeah, it's been haunting me for 20 plus years. I got to own up to it, you know. I was the one that cut the Lara Croft pictures out of the Tomb Raider strategy guide.
It's still, you know. I think that just makes the friendship even stronger, you know.
Yeah. I feel safer on you guys. I'm doing some trauma dumping over here.
Anyone else have anything they want to share?
Yeah. Well,
has anyone else ever cut up any Tomb Raider 2 strategy guides for the PS1?
No, there's
I cut up other things, but
yeah.
There's a lot of Goombas that I cut out and kind of made my own collage. So that's my own personal stuff. Yeah. I wish. Oh, I should have had it. Future Anthony's going to have to put the image here, but I had Scoot draw me a handful of Mario-related sketch cards, 1C2E2, right when that Super Mario movie came out years ago. And while I wanted his take on all the classic characters, blah blah blah, when I suggested the Goomba, I said I wanted specifically to be the '93 live-action Goomba.
Oh yeah, that.
And he just
what's his name? Mojo Nixon, right?
Say that again.
That was like the dude, Mojo Nixon. That was like the dude that he was like a musician.
Oh, he played Toad, yeah.
Yeah. Like he played Toad. That's what it was. They turned him into it. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the harmonica that was attached to him. That
movie is like insane. I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And I get why people are like, "What is going on with that movie?" But like,
I
don't know. The sets are amazing. Like the design is really beautiful. Like it's like an awesome looking movie. It's just like it makes no sense, but it's like, you know, how do you adapt? You boop, 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 boop. Like that's all Mario had for a while, you know, just a little guy jumping, you know.
There it is.
Like they went for it.
I love seeing the Super Scope 6 being, you know, used as their you know, missile launchers, their guns, and
I kind of want to rewatch that now. I thought I liked it as a kid. I thought it was cool.
Big crush on Daisy in that movie. So
Oh yeah, she's a big
Samantha Matheson, is that her name? Mathis?
Mathis. Yeah.
And honestly, too, like the Yoshi design's actually pretty good too. Like it's a pretty good puppet.
I heard that was like half of the budget for the movie was to make that puppet.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, even if you just, like I said, all jokes aside with the movie, it's like you look at the set, and the sets are awesome. Like it's a really great looking movie. It's just it's nonsense, you know. But then again, you have this like classically trained, you know, Bob Hoskins playing Mario, you know, and John Leguizamo. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
The Mario and the Luigi Mario jokes.
Yeah, Mario, Luigi Mario.
That's still some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard. So
yeah.
Even though I'm
Yeah.
a Nintendo boy, I still dabbled in Xbox. So Rock Band, I spent a lot of time with. I love the
Oh, there we go. Halo 2.
I love the Star Wars Obi-Wan game because if you press a certain button, you can constantly have him repeat a phrase, and he would always go, "I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure." So that got annoying. I really loved how they just kept making Buffy games. So they did two different Buffy games in that era. Going into some GameCube, Luigi's Mansion.
Classic. I love Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, so good. And I
Also has a dedicated button to just make him scream Mario.
Mario.
Oh, Mario. Spent a lot of time, not actually like playing the challenges, but just skating around to my own music on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 specifically.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of time spent on that. I will speed round. Now, for some reason, I can't find any of my Nintendo Wii related games and stuff. Must be tucked away somewhere. I'm kind of alarmed that I couldn't find them anywhere, so I'll investigate that further. But going into Nintendo Switch, the recent Super Mario Brothers Wonder is super fun, kind of adding a lot of new elements in the Mario world, Mario Odyssey, and the Zelda games. Even though I'm not very good at them, I'm always just in awe of the world building and just, I'll spend weeks and months just trying to figure out, realizing I just had to feed a fish to something in a pond and then it unlocks a cave or something. It's like, oh,
Breath of the Wild's so good. I spent so many hours playing that too, and even Tears of the Kingdom, I played a ton of that too. But it's so good.
The last little run. Oh wait, I had to show this. I have to jump to the other screen to show this off. The one thing I didn't get now is pretty privileged and a good, very fortunate to have a lot of those games, hand-me-downs and things that whatever. The one thing I didn't get that I had to buy as an adult when I started.
Oh man, it's a Virtual Boy. Oh my god!
I started making my own money. The Virtual Boy, playing the Mario.
That's so sick.
Yeah. So only play this for about 1 minute at a time if you want to keep your eyesight.
And then you just fries your brain from looking at that.
Yep. And then to finally get through this here, my favorite system to answer the first question that I asked everybody, I'm going to finally answer it now. N64. Era, I played every single game that would come out. I was in a good friendship with the owner of the local video store, to the point where every time I came in after school, she would say, "Hey, here's the new N64 game." She wouldn't even put it on the shelf. She would just have it set aside for me. And it was, I'm like, "Oh, when does this do?" Because it's usually due in like 3 to 5 days or something. She's like, "Oh, just play it until you conquer it, and just bring it back when you're done." And then she'd be like, "Let me know how the game was so I can know if I should order more copies of Wave Race or, Pilot Wings and whatever." So
you're like a consultant.
Yeah, pretty much.
Consultant. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was it just kind of stumbled into it just because I was there every single day.
Oh yeah, there was a video store.
Yeah.
I remember. There used to be a local video store by me, and there would be like this teenager dude, this like just like cool, kind of just like long haired, kind of just like cool dude. And anytime he would work, he would just let us rent like anything. So when we were like, me and my buddy Mike at the time, when we were like 10, we would just go and he would just let us rent like Jason Goes to Hell and like all these like movies that we probably would like. My dad wouldn't care for watching those anyway. But again, that was such a cool formative thing of like having someone who just let us rent like anything, That's so cool.
Yeah, horror movies were like a really big bonding thing with me and my mom.
Yeah.
Like I got super into slasher movies, and then she like walked into the living room when I was watching one of them. She was like, "I used to go with my friends to the drive-in when these were new." So then we would like watch them together, and she always like purposely made it uncomfortable. Sitting on the couch like
Zelda Ocarina of Time is just a masterpiece. I absolutely love that. Blast Corps is one of those that I don't find anybody else talking about, but basically like there's like this bomb, there's just like this tanker or something that's just going to blow up anything it touches, and you have to like take a bulldozer and other equipment, and you're running around and jumping in all these vehicles, and you're trying to just clear the path so this gets basically just out of harm's way and it doesn't blow up the city. And it's really crazy. It is one of those games that was just thrown my way from that lady who that owned the video store, and I'm like, all right, Blast Corps is amazing. I haven't met a single person who even knows what that is. All the wrestling games starting with N64, your NWO Revenge and your wrestling.
Those are Scoot's favorite.
Yeah,
Scoot's all about those. He loves the What's the other one? WCW versus NWO. Is there one that just called that?
There's one with Revenge. So WCW NWO Revenge.
Yeah.
There's World Tour started off first. And then there's WrestleMania 2000 once they got WWF license at the time.
We did a fake slam cover too, where it's that Revenge, that cartridge.
Yeah.
Scoot did one where it's all slam characters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got to dig it out. We'll send you it. It was really cool. But those games are so good. That 4-player, like those are the best.
Awesome. I just mentioned Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey on a past show. I don't remember how, but that was awesome one. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, classic.
Use a code and then you can like control a Wampa and walk around.
Yeah,
so just being able to control a Wampa is amazing. GoldenEye. I mean, GoldenEye. Enough said there. Mario Tennis. I think I only have one loss to my name, and it's in a doubles match. So I'm still, I'm undefeated in the singles against human players, but I'm ready to play anybody anytime. Mario Kart 64. Out of all of the Mario Kart games, that's the favorite. But now I'm finally at the end. My favorite game of all time, of all eras, of everything ever that I got the most joy out of. I'm excited when I play the remastered version through Nintendo Switch, but I am talking about Mario 64.
Oh, yeah, classic, yeah.
There's so much meat to this game, and collecting, like 120 stars, and it's one of those games that, talking about memories of video games, that when I beat that game, I wrote down the date that I beat it, which was like January something after I got it for Christmas, So it was like roughly a month later, and I wrote that on one of my school notebooks, was like January 25th, 19.
It only took you a month to beat?
Yeah, it was like
that's impressive. Yeah,
I had a little bit of a head start because I won a video game contest at like a local festival that we had here in town, and there's all this other like fair carnival related stuff, but then one of the newer video game stores in town had a bunch of video game consoles set up under a tent. I'm like, all right, I'm outside now, I can play video games well.
yeah
there
we go. Yeah, there we go.
It got me out of the basement. Yeah, it got me out of the basement so that I could go under a tent.
Yeah, go outside. To me too, like as a kid, that was like the ultimate dream. Is like, dude, how sick would it be to like play like a video game like outside?
Yeah, and this will be the shortest version I'll ever tell this story because we will be wrapping up shortly here. Wrapped up, by the way, a little plug.
There you go, classic. In stores now.
So going through the video game contest, they had all the different systems set up, but Road Rash for the original PlayStation game, the contest was basically just getting the best time, whatever it was. And there was an older brother of a friend that was like an expert video game player, and me and him were battling back and forth on who would just beat each other's time. And it was like a 3-day event, and we'd always go back to see like, oh, Anthony beat your score. Oh, Chad just beat your score. And we'd always go back to back. And on the final day, within an hour of this carnival thing ending, I got a call from the owner of that video store saying, hey, Chad just came in and beat your score one more time. We have an hour left in case you wanted to come on down. So I hopped on my bike, ET style, and I'm going to the other end of town and rushing to try to, beat the score one more time, constantly playing Road Rash. And believe it or not, I beat the score one last time. I won the main prize, and the prize was to pick a food item, a snack item off of a table. This is one tier. So I picked a package of Twizzlers. So I had some Twizzlers. You'd go to the next table and you could pick one VHS tape, which were all used rentals. So it wasn't a brand new thing. It was just from their store. So because of the time, I picked a copy of Tommy Boy as my VHS selection. So here I am, like 6th, 7th grade or whatever. I'm just like, oh, I now own Tommy Boy and VHS. Yeah. The last tier of this prize of winning this game was a 1-week free rental of any console and 2 games of your choice.
Oh, wow.
N64 had just come out.
Oh, man.
And they only came out with 2 games. So I got Mario 64 and Pilot Wings for 1 week. So I got a head start of like knowing the Mario game for a week. But then by Christmas, September to December, finally got the game on Christmas. So then I started from the beginning, and then it was less than a month, and I wrote it on my notebook and like my history notebook at school, just being like, this is the day, January, whatever, I beat Mario 64. My
This
favorite
did-
game of all
Do you
time.
celebrate it every year? You should.
I really should.
That should
and,
be
you
like
know,
your own little personal holiday. That's so cute.
Yep, I really should. I'm going to make up for it, and yeah, I'm going to take that advice, and it's now retroactively. I'm going to celebrate that.
So that's awesome. I wish I remembered stuff like that, but unfortunately, some lifestyle choices to help my memory is not the best. But
Yeah.
like that, that's like man, that's so cool.
So yeah, that was honestly the shortest version of all of that I could tell, because I know I didn't want to, take over the show there. So
I love that.
Yep. So,
Road Rash is cool too.
oh yeah, there's no better, like when you're playing, Excite Bike and stuff like that. It's just like all you have to do is go up and down ramps. But when
Yeah.
you're playing something like Road Rash, like 15, 20 years later, and now you're getting to punch, you're getting to have like nunchucks and like
Yeah.
bats and stuff. Like it just, once you got into PlayStation and stuff, you started leveling up. Like what Dave said, hey, now I feel like a man. So
Yeah.
put all
yeah.
this Excite Bike stuff aside so I could play Road Rash. So
All it took for me to be a man is to hit a guy in a motorcycle with a chain.
and
Put
then you
hair in my
look at,
chest.
and then you look at all your Lara Croft Tomb Raider
Yeah.
titles, you're like, this is the life.
Absolutely.
All
Love it.
right. I told the guys before you joined beforehand that I looked at all your stuff, and there was so much stuff to cover. I think we barely scratched the surface. Kind of did like Cliff's Notes versions of your career and all that kind of stuff. But it was awesome to get to learn all that. Excited to eventually have you back to kind of expand on some more things. Now, before we leave, I want to just exhaust the rest here of our questions. Brian Lynch from Hot Wing of Justice. Question for Dave. Would you rather write a story for a chicken or a pumpkin? He's thinking.
I would say like if it was a pumpkin, that would be too on brand for me.
Yeah.
That's what people are going to expect me to do.
Yeah.
So I would play the wild card and I would do chicken. And also I love chicken too as a food. So
I like that because I would have guessed pumpkin. That was the obvious.
yeah, that's the easy answer for
I
me
like
for
the
sure.
curveball. And he did ask a serious question. Not that wasn't serious.
Yeah.
Talking about your style of writing, but you did kind of talk about that. But he's kind of wondering, like panel descriptions, full script, or other. Is there kind of a go-to on, or is it different with each artist as you work with?
No, that's the cool thing is like, and that's the biggest thrill about like being a comics writer. Is a lot of people will say like, "Oh, don't you wish you could draw?" And yeah, that would be cool to like cut the middleman out and like I don't know, make more money or something.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like I love seeing my stuff interpreted in different ways. Like you could give the same script to 5 different people and it would look dramatically different, know?
Right.
And to me, that's like my favorite part of the job too, is like seeing that come to life, because I write the same way I write for Miranda, then I write for Scoot, and other people, so, yeah, no, it's cool. It's really fun. I love seeing it interpreted. And like I said, a good comics writer, like that you're writing for your artist, so it's like, you kind of just let them go nuts, that's the secret, and they just end up making me look good,
Mhm.
but they do all the heavy lifting,
Yeah, I've definitely said that before when, talking with people and working on projects and just being like, hey, you take the freedom, you're only going to make me look like a better writer. You're going to throw things in that I didn't even have in a script or something like that. And you're just going to let them work their magic. And
yeah. And that stuff shows too. That's going to be like, I feel like comics is one of the only mediums where you could like tell if someone's actually having fun, like creating it. Like I could pick up a comic and being like, I know whoever drew this loved drawing this, like that comes across in the line art and stuff,
Absolutely. It's like with Fife and me, we have done 2 series that have been released and we're working on a 3rd one now, and we've actually changed the writing style for each one.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So like for Happy Astronaut, he gave like page by page, panel by panel descriptions.
Yeah.
And then for Slaughter Otter, he basically split the whole book into 2-page spreads and just said, over the course of these 2 pages, here's what happens.
Oh,
And then I just had like total freedom to draw whatever. And then the new thing we're doing, he's going back to panel by panel because we have a colorist and an editor now.
Oh,
so we have like more people that need to see it. And it's awesome.
Look at you,
all I have,
humble brag over here. Look at you, man.
man, I'm just happy that I'm like cutting out a huge time step.
No, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's so cool. That's so sick. I'm stoked for you guys. That's awesome.
uh,
When's that being announced? Are they going to announce it soon or no?
We're looking for the first issue to come out in January.
Awesome.
So it'll probably be announced in like I think September or October is when it'll be like solicited.
Are you like me where you're just like, like you're just like, yeah.
It's like you said before, I think it was before we started recording, but it's like the timeline for comics and publishing is
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's
messed
like,
up.
so, yeah, such a lead in. Yeah.
It's like I don't even remember making that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. That's so exciting. No, that's awesome.
Before I go into the final run here, Rodgers, D. Brad, was there anything lingering that maybe I ran over? If you guys wanted to say something yet, anything?
I had just one thing. When I was thinking about video games, is I kind of remember the ads, like commercials, the jingle for Atari, and it's "Have you played Atari today?"
That's good. That's an earworm though. That's what they want.
Yeah,
I'm glad we got a clean record on that because that's probably going to be at the end of our credits now. So,
Voice of an angel. I love that. It's good.
speaking of video game ads, so being like a Nintendo Power subscriber, we would get random like VHSs in the mail, and when the N64 was coming out, you can find them on YouTube. They're crazy short films advertising the Rumble Pack, and it was a guy, like a big bully guy from Sega and a bully guy from Sony that were trying to track down this Nintendo guy, and they capture him, and they basically like kind of like, hey, we heard the N64 is coming out, like, we got to get this information, you're the big competition, blah blah blah. And this guy is so cocky, the Nintendo guy, just being like, we got this game, we haven't heard this yet because we're talking about the Rumble Pack. And they're all like, what? They're like, and he's like flipping out, and it's like super serious, over the top craziness. And now Paul Rudd did an old Nintendo ad.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
decades
saw he
ago.
redid it. Right, he did a new one.
Yep, with Nintendo Switch 2 coming out, as we're talking,
Right.
recording in May of 2025 here. He had like an old hair, throwback with the wig, and like, so it's him doing another ad for Nintendo because he did one as a young actor back then, and it's I'm glad D. Brad brought that up with the commercials because that's like I said, just if you type in like N64. Star Fox. Oh yeah, Star Fox. That's what because that's when the Rumble Pack debuted. So if you typed it into YouTube, you'll find these short films, and it is like, it's just a VHS that showed up in the mail one day without even knowing.
Those are like the promos, right? Like they send them to stores, like it's like media training or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
And I just watched that like religiously, just being because I was just waiting for that Star Fox game to come out, and I just rewatched that 15-minute ad or something, whatever it was. And
do you still have that VHS or no?
Oh, I'm sure it's I got a lot of.
Oh, that's so
VHS.
cool.
I'm sure it's probably sitting.
My guess is yes, you do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Looking at this other stuff that I can't even stand up without knocking things over, it's probably even here right now.
Yeah. Were you when I said I wanted to do video games for this episode? Were you like, yes?
I secretly I was
like
excited.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I also have the old Pac-Man ornament from our family Christmas tree growing up.
Oh my god!
Like a little like squishy plushy type of thing. I'm guessing it was handmade by somebody, but this was always part of our ornament of family tree, and this is the one ornament I wanted to make sure I kept in my collection.
Going back to advertisements, do you guys remember the advertisements for Earthbound that said this game stinks, and they all had like scratch and sniff things that all smelled like liquid garbage?
Yeah.
What I wanted.
Yeah, that's so good. I just love like the marketing behind for kids, where it's like, hey, check this out. Look how disgusting this is. And like, okay, I have to check this out. Like, this is gonna be good. Like the 90s were just so much like boogers and slime and barf and
I was just thinking about that. Everyone's like, you guys are so immature, and it's like, I was just thinking about this Ninja Turtles vehicle that like you rode on a toilet.
Oh yeah,
like you would put the character on a toilet, and it was like a cruiser, and I'm just sitting here like, well, of course we were gross. Look at all the stuff we had to play.
And then there was a Ghostbusters toilet too.
Yes.
Yeah, big part of my. I'm very sentimental for all the disgusting barf and toilets. And
I had a flashback that I used to have a toy toilet that was a radio.
Yeah, see.
Wow.
See, you're one of us. You're not so different, you and I.
Well, it's not hard to believe when you have the haunted toilet story. So I mean, it all checks.
I mean, that's probably literally what I ripped that off of is like the Ghostbusters toy. It was like the wrapped up thing, skateboarding mummy. That's like Goosebumps,
The terror of the toilet. I love it. It's awesome.
This was awesome. There's so much more to talk about, but we'll definitely have to have you back, hopefully alongside Scoot, because
yeah, we're gonna try to do that. We were talking about that because he's got something going on. But that would be fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to plug for? We talked about all your books. Run out, honestly, buy Mayor Good Boy. I've bought those books several times over, gifting them to friends' kids and waiting. Like, I have a cabinet here of just like, there's several copies just because I'm ready to like.
Oh, that's so
hand
sweet.
out Mayor Good
Thank
Boy,
you.
'cause that's
so nice.
It's so good. Is there anything you want to promote that's coming out or things to tease in the future that we can read in 2030 or something?
Yeah. That's good. Let's see. Yeah, I just wrapped up the free comic day of Star Wars. There's a little something else coming soon if you're into that. So hopefully that'll be announced soon. Let's see what else we got. And I talked about how I always like to have something out for Halloween. Like I do my own like comic thing, whatever. Keep an eye on it. September-ish. We might have something being released. I'm not even going to tease it. We're going to do a new comic for me and a buddy. Yeah, just Mayor Good Boys in stores. It's available at your local library, comic stores, local bookshops, all that. And I don't know. I appreciate you having me. This has been very fun.
And then where can people find you online if they want to contact you?
Yeah, I'm everywhere at Dave Scheidt, Scheidt. So I'm mainly on Instagram and Blue Sky these days.
Okay.
That's the best place to reach me, or DaveScheidt.com.
Excellent. All that information will be put at the bottom of the screen as well in our show notes. Now, I wanted to save one very special question for the end of the show, and this one is submitted by our friend Art Baltazar, the famous cartoonist.
Oh no!
And his question, yep, you should definitely say, "Oh no." Written by Art Baltazar. Question for Dave: when does he expect the squatchy mud butt to return?
See, that's the thing about Mudbutt. You never know when it's going to show up. So it's haunting. Last time that popped up, New York Comic Con 2017, something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't wish Mudbutt on my worst enemies. That's all I'll say about that.
All right.
Fair enough. Thank you, Dave, for being on the show. And with that note, we realize that the game is over and we're all out of quarters. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah, got it. Can't get the thing closed.
Have you played Atari today?
Okay,
I was crossing my eyes.